We will show you a live case study. In fact, I was part of that live case study while I was working at Larsen & Toubro. You will get a clear idea of how one discipline or one situation or one professional cannot get innovation going on. It has to be a collaborative effort. It has to be a culmination of all the strengths of every discipline for innovation to happen. So these are those important series for you to understand the innovation process. So we are very clear that finally innovation is said to have been happened only if the user gets the benefit, and a large number of users are really sort of happy with the type of product which has been designed and it solves their problem. So in an innovation to happen, you need to have great user satisfaction and delight. So we can't use innovation against everything like innovative research. No, innovation is said to happen only when there is user satisfaction and delight. So that becomes extremely critical in our journey. We should not be in that confusion that we'll call everything innovation. It could be a creative idea, or it could be a cutting edge research, but it can't be innovative research till it has not reached the people for whom the work can be beneficial. Let us now focus on our L&T Z line. What are the 4 core pivots which worked over there? The first pivot was user focus, and the users are different levels. There's one user who is the end user who is coming and filling petrol. The other user is a person who is actually filling petrol for you. Tertiary users are the users who are manufacturing the pumps, who are installing the pumps, who are distributing the pumps. So the primary user, the secondary user who is the maintenance guy, and the person who is installing, all these levels of users are very, very important in innovation cycle. So these, so when we say user focus, it is multiple levels of users, not just one person who is the end person who is using it. So now let us come to the problem. The problem given, to us was, when I joined the company, in fact, they had saying that, oh, we're completely losing business. We have a serious problem in hand. No orders from the companies because L&T's product were expensive and was not having any big advantage over the competitors. So they realized that our products are not looking good. The realization was aesthetic. So let us go to IDC and hire a designer who can make the pump look beautiful. So they were only lacking, design a user-friendly product. And then when I went into the company, I realized that's just not aesthetics and user requirement. There's much, much more to innovation. So then what, the context was that L&T was manufacturing an electronic petrol pump. This is way back in 1988. In 1988, when we had only Maruti cars on the roads. Actually, Maruti car was just launched when we launched our petrol pump. Before that, it was only ambassador cars. It's that type of era. And I will show you the journey, how we went forward. And the focus was that we need to design an electronic petrol pump. Earlier, what type of petrol pumps used to be there? Mechanical petrol pumps with those meters and all. Then what was the first thing which struck me when I went to L&T? It is the size, it is the financial muscle, and if it's the brand of the company. What will be your design focus when you design for a large company? What will be your design focus when you design for a small company? As soon as they realized that they needed a new look pump, they came to IDC. So they're very, very clear that they have to have the right manpower for the right work. And then this is our division. Petrol pumps came under switchgear division. So this particular division was our R&D, and we used to have different departments, very well organized and very well oiled. What happens in large companies like Larsen & Toubro? They have very efficient product development and very efficient manufacturing and very efficient sales and marketing. All the models are there. When you do design, innovation by design, you have to look at the creative ideation part, which was missing. You have to look at completely out of the box product, which was missing. And all the roles fell on me when I joined the company. So on top of it, the R&D head came and said that you need to reduce the cost of the product by 25%. So that was the main requirement they came up with. Then the product should at least last for 5 to 6 years in the market as a champion product. And the form and aesthetics of the product had to be strikingly different and new in the field, because they were already out of business. And competitors had already had great products, so they need to do that. And then they said, don't change the hydraulics, because hydraulics is already ready, and if you change that, it will take a longer time cycle. If you change a lot of things, your product life cycle will go up. Now if you look at these pitfalls, what is interesting is there was nobody in the design section, in the mock-up section, the first one which you saw. In our pitfalls for the innovation process, Whereas all other sections of prototype making, pilot production and mass production, L&T was phenomenally good. So there was a big advantage for me, right? You could start and come up with a great product idea and it will sail through all those stages. But here I'm sitting in one of the best companies in the world who have all the other process but are missing the design process. So as I told you, today innovation, if it has to happen, it has to be across all the segments in the product. You have to have technology which should be contemporary and futuristic. You must have excellent user interfaces. Your manufacturing has to be phenomenally good. You would have very good management systems in place. We just had to make incremental changes in the other sections to make them come into the innovation flower. And I call this the sunflower model of innovation, because if you take care of all aspects of the petal will look towards the sun, and that is looking towards the user, and you have innovation in your hand. So what happens with the user study? So I was taught in IDC that you go and fill petrol yourself, stay in the stations, learn from the operators, learn from the display people, learn from all the aspects working with the pump. After doing all that study, you also need to study what's happening with products around the world. So we studied the international products. Then we studied a local market which put L&T out of business. These are all, essence of design. And then we started our idea sketching. In fact, we had some 20-30 sketches. Multiple scale models. So you can see the scale model. This is a small scale pump model of this size. So when we made these models, we realized that this model was not very unique or very different from other existing products. So we were analyzing, this model was unique because it was having a sloping column and there much more variety. And to the everlasting credit of using scale models and playing with models, this whole story of coming up with the Z-line came up because of play with this particular model. It was a small model in the hand. We were trying to see how the sloping column can work better. And we said, why to have the pipe? You see that vertical pipe? So we removed the pipe which takes the signals from the bottom to the top, and the electronic signals as well as the electrical wires. And we removed that pipe and became phenomenally clean, sleek, as well as less clutter. So this is the predecessor which was not there in the sketch form. So only when we started making models. So I always keep telling my students that when you start making physical models, scale models, your creativity grows at least 4 to 5 times. So here we have this pump which is at the plaster scale, small scale, and then we made a big presentation to the management. The management said, we don't want to risk this completely novel out of the box idea, but we'll make a prototype of this as well as a prototype of the pipe. You saw the pipe design? So those two prototypes we'll make. But I said before prototype, I like to make a mock-up model. What's a mock-up model? Thermocol, which doesn't work, it's just made out of thermocol. So this is a mock-up model made out of cardboard and thermocol. And when we went for a meeting here, what's the advantage of making these models? You get a lot of inputs from across your company. From the manufacturing people, they came and told us what's difficult in manufacturing. The marketing people came and told us what is good or bad about the features which they think was important. The people from the maintenance came and said, oh wow, this is very good to maintain, but you see to that the box comes off very easily. So everybody can relate to a mock-up model very early in the design phase. So you can make quick changes and make it much better for implementation. So these are the first mock-up model, and then we made out of the mock-up models, we made at least 3 mock-up models, and we created 2 prototypes. You remember the pie shape? The pie which was the balanced form, and we had the Z-line form. So there was these 2 forms again. In big companies like Larsen & Toubro, there's something called the product development meetings. In the product development meetings, a very, very tough meeting where every department comes for the meeting. And at this stage, it went to that particular meeting where we had head of manufacturing, head of product planning, head of finance, head of maintenance, head of marketing. So all these people will come and they will look, each one will look at his point. What will the finance guy look at? he will say how much investment I need to make in making these two products come true. Investment from point of your tooling, investment from point of your buying new machines, investment from point of development. What will manufacturing guy say? Oh, will my existing manufacturing machines take care of all the components? We gave him a brief that the manufacturing, you should not change some of the synergy. So we kept 90% manufacturing same, but we had 10% improvements, because without that, you can't have innovation coming in. Remember the sunflower model? At every level, you need to innovate. So the major things we kept constant, but we innovated on some very key components to come up with a great level of innovation. Within the company, it was very interesting that there were 70 to 80% people who chose the Pi design. Easy to install, easy to, there's no, headache at all. But if L&T is talking itself as Imagineering, to the everlasting credit of Mr. Devendra Nath, who used to teach at IDC. He used to come, he was the head of R&D there, and he was my boss. In that meeting, he challenged the manufacturing and challenged the people in the maintenance and said, is it possible for you to take up this challenge of creating an out-of-the-box idea and taking it to the market? When you give a challenge to people, what will they say? Very accomplished engineers and accomplished people in the company, they took up the challenge. They said, yes, we will do it. Because they had all the strengths, they had all the best machines in the world to produce a pump which was very different from any pump which can be manufactured very easily by local manufacturers. Whereas Z-Line needed very, very high-end CNC machines, very high quality control of dimensional control of the assemblies. Because just imagine if the sloping column becomes at an angle, it looked very shabby, leave alone making it look out of the box and neat. In L&T, we have a large petrol station ourselves, so we installed both of them over there for study purposes. And we checked what is happening. They're all working prototypes. So we reached the working prototype level. What's the advantage of Larsen & Toubro, as I told you? After your first mock-up, you get the complete strength of the company to smoothly sail to the next stages. So that's the beauty of this design. And this is the final selected concept. That's me, if you can see me. In 1988, I think I was around 26 years old at that time. And then these were the features of the Z-Line pump at the concept level. It created a completely new image. Everybody was very happy within the company. The sloping column, remember in form and aesthetics, what was my brief? My brief was to design a new look petrol pump. And all the pumps were boxy. To create a new look, we had to come up with a dynamic shape. And electronic product, remember? Electronic product had to have it's a new animal, right? A mechanical product is a mechanical product, electronic product is an electronic product. So your whole design has to be very different. So how can you show high-tech look in a product? So we took cues from TVs and radios and all, and we said we need to have a display which is very, very prominent and which is good. So we have that display which came up, that's called the high-tech look of the pump. Because the display, and when the display glows in the night, it makes it look very high-tech. Then we also came up with this modular assembly. The hydraulics was assembled separately in the hydraulics division of Larsen & Toubro, and the electronics was assembled in earlier pump. It was together. It was so difficult because electronics needs different type of equipment, different type of clean rooms, different type of systems, whereas hydraulics needs different tanks, a lot of testing happening with the fuel before you put on. So it's quite messy over there. So we did modular design very early, so you could get very good sort of details over there. And then we got a pilot production order from one product from each company, the Bharat Petroleum, the IBP, the Indian Oil, and then the Hindustan Petroleum. All of them gave one order, saying that for pilot production we'll give you only one order. One piece is very difficult to manufacture. But L&T being L&T, they said we will spend all the money. If you make, for example, if the product cost is say 1 lakh rupees, if you have to produce one piece, how much will it cost? 10 lakh rupees. That is the issue of mass production. So we spent 10 times the cost because we had to make inroads into the market. So L&T had this large CNC turret punching machines. Their accuracy was 0.01 millimeter. And then we had convenience for the station, the secondary users. In fact, earlier, what used to happen? The station, the petrol pump owners had to come to the pump, open the panel, put a torch and read this display, which is to be read in the morning and in the evening. How much petrol was sold during the day in his shift. But we said our secondary users also are important. So what we did, we moved it up and we had a nice display for him so he can just come to the pump and read in the morning and go. So user convenience for every user is very critical. Here we just used, creative ideation from car industry. Lift the bonnet. So we lifted the bonnet. And we fitted the cards like a computer industry. If the card gets out of order, you can replace it in 15 minutes flat. Earlier it used to take 3 hours. So just imagine the amount of loss to the company, station owner, if you can't operate a pump for 3 hours. So this became a very, very important feature in the pump, easy maintenance. Then we had some excellent painting systems in Larsen & Toubro, which were inline painting. We used to have automatic painting lines, so very good, painting lines were there. We had great manpower, as I told you, very, very skilled manpower for machine parts and pumps and motors and all were phenomenally done. And then we were very, very happy that we could come up with our first pilot production. You can even see the pellet here. This is coming out of the pilot production from the factory floor. So now after the pilot production, we installed all of them, all the 5 in 5 different locations in Bombay, and all the company owner executives went and saw them, and they were all very, very happy. Especially because it had a new look, it had a lot of these interesting features. So out of the 5 companies, Bharat Petroleum immediately placed an order. Again, a pilot order, but large order of around 200 petrol pumps. So when I talked about the innovation flower, it is not just because of my shape and my user interface that our product was innovative. No. That petal manufacturing technology, that every petal had phenomenal amount of in-depth understanding, because I'm doing design, innovation by design, showing only the design story, but I need to tell you about the other aspects which are very critical. And this electronic development was phenomenal. The type of development our engineers did in our division, electronics division, was very good. And this particular electronic cards were very robust and very little failure in the field. And then we had large scale deployment, like as soon as Bharat Petroleum sort of gave an order, we put up these pumps all over, all over the country. So what are the key, points? You can clearly see that we use very little sheet metal, right? The shape itself demanded, we used 40% less sheet metal than the earlier box. Then we had, a very convenient user display panel, which was wide angled. So what happens when the display is wide angle? You can see from large angles. The angle of vision is larger. And the innovative shape made the pump look inviting. We also had multiple displays, that is one display running in rupees and another display for running in liters. So we had very good chips which could actually run your pump on both. So we used to have a button there, say that if you want to buy for rupees 100, you could actually, rather than buying in liters, you could buy for 100. That was the first time L&T introduced it. Now it's very common practice, but at that time it was very new. And then we also had a 3 display where you have the rupees, the liters and the rate of petrol coming in. Whenever you design a product, you need to have multiple variants. So the costs were higher, of course, but there was a chance for the oil companies to have differentiation in the cities and in the rural areas or whatever they want to do, so that they can have much better systems in place. And then what we were very, very happy that within 2 years, L&T went into leadership position. The competition was wiped out. There was phenomenal cost to feature design, became the largest selling pump. And what was surprising was that the customers demanded for Z-line pump from the oil companies. They said, we want only Z-line. And then the biggest satisfaction came when I was in the company and I read this, Bharat Petroleum internal magazine, and the customers thought they got better petrol and better quantity, correct quantity of petrol from the Z-line. So that is the perception they got. So now just imagine a shape can be related to perception, right? So whenever they went to a Z-line petrol pump, they got better petrol and better measure. And they did get better measure, of course. So we did a lot of those, small improvements, as I told you, like from the innovation model. And then because the shape was new, the product was new, people also thought they got better quality petrol. And that was a great satisfaction for us in the company. And then, as you rightly we discussed, the unique shape, gave it leadership position and, much better maintenance access from the top and from the side. In fact, the sensors are located over here. The sensors. So when you open this box out, even you have very good access to sensors and maintenance. And within 3 years, when we went to school for a survey and we asked children to draw petrol pumps, the children were drawing the Z-line. So that becomes a very important aspect of semantic change. So people registered that, as the, major shape, because it's a unique shape. So when you do the collaborative teaming, you are, surely bound to be successful and come up with innovative products in the market. And then by using these things, the pumps Everywhere we could see scales and scales of pump coming up. The displays were easy. There were, demand for more and more. All new stations would, put up our pump, and it's now installed all over the country. It is like nearly 1,700 pumps displayed. But now it's out of market, and we will, understand how, we close this. I think the product, it went out of production in 2001. We gave 5 years life. So L&T kept selling till 10 years. 10 to 11 years they kept on selling, because when the product is popular, they don't actually take it out of the market. So that became very, very sort of successful, and the company also turnover grew nearly 4 to 5 times in the petrol pump sector itself. And it was a real case study on innovation, where the customer accepted it finally, and that's why we're calling it innovation. And there were large scale deployment across the country. And on top of it, very critical aspect was that we had the users basically at multiple levels were satisfied. The primary user, the secondary users, and the tertiary user, all of them were having something in the pump which was valuable for them. When does serial innovation happen? It happens when you're in the same product segment. You're doing innovation every 10 years or every 5 years, depending upon how the product is going forward. Today we're going to discuss the bullet dispenser, which is center part, which is the big, what I show you as the bigger product. Though the Z-line was so successful, it swarmed the market. All the petrol pumps showcased the Z-line petrol pump. So what happened? How could you actually upset that, or how could you offset that and come up with another product? Is a very important lesson for us, and please see how this happened. In fact, when I was doing it, it was like research for me. I was doing research in this area to see how I can come up with a methodology for innovation. So same products, across different timelines, and you're taking it to the next level of innovation. So here, why I'm showing you this serial innovation is specifically because finally it is the users at the multiple levels of users, how they are actually accepting your product and how they are demanding and requesting for your product. So very interesting thing happened. Once the Z-line was very popular, and it was already 6 to 7 years, and I got an offer to join as faculty in IIT Delhi to start a new program in design. So I accepted the offer. I moved from Larsen & Toubro to academics, and then I started doing a lot of programs for industry on telling them how creativity is important for engineering, how innovation methodologies are critical, how design thinking is very important of making those wonderful models to understand design details. So while doing all that, the competitor's head of R&D was in one of my exposure workshops for industrial design. So here, for example, when I was looking at all these research and document, I found that there's a life to a product. So it's ethical if you start working on a new design in the same domain after the lifespan of that product is over. So the lifespan given to the Z-line pump was 6 years, and it was already 8 years when Midco came to me. So we said, please come, we will work on this project. So he sent his CEO of the company here. The top management support is very important, because the innovation process, it's a very expensive process, right? The expenses build up while you go in the process. The idea and design phase is not very expensive. Whereas the prototyping phase and the mass production phase is very expensive. And just imagine, when a company is not doing well, will they have enough money? The CEO of the company was in the family business. So he took special loans and said, I have to spring back, and I have to work with the best in the country, including collaborations for various engineering components, and we need to spring back. So this Mr. Arup Chatterjee, who's the CEO of the company, came back to IIT and said, you have to work with us. Now that you're a faculty, you should work with us and you should produce a pump. They didn't say at that time that you should replace the Z-line or whatever. They said, you have to design a pump so that we also can be in the market. All on the same framework, what I learned in L&T. Remember, I was very clear. Contemporary materials, understand users to the best possible way, bringing up creative ideation. At every stage, let it be manufacturing, technology, creative ideation is a must. So these 3 pillars were used every time. So we use the same 3 pillars again for this process. So we took it as a student project, and we started the journey. Now look at what Midco was selling. This was what they were selling before the Z-line came up. This was 3 years ahead of the Z-line, and after Z-line came up, nobody was buying this pump. Our electronics was superlative. Our shape was phenomenally new. Our manufacturing was excellent. Our quality control was very, very good. And cost was low. Cost was low because we designed for low cost sort of production. Every part of the sunflower model that Petals I showed you were excellent. So this pump could not compete. So when compared to Z-Line, you're seeing that the Midco is a very small company, 1/100th or 1,000th of the size of Larsen & Toubro. And what was the advantage is it was a single product company. They had no other business other than petrol pumps. And they came into petrol pumps after manufacturing gas cylinders. We need three important things when a new company comes in. You need to have investment in manufacturing, investment in human resource, and biggest challenge is that human resource for design was very difficult to get. And then we looked at, customers were far more demanding over the years. So it's already 8 years since we did the Z-Line, and a lot of things changed in 8 years. And remember, I was telling you about giving you the example of laptops last time. Every year we're getting laptops which are better, cheaper, much more capable than your earlier laptops. The same phenomenon. After 10 years, a lot of things changed. So we need to look at everything in a new way. So luckily, as soon as we started the work, the company was very aggressive. See, you all know innovation happens in war-like situations. Midco, completely out of market, starving. So now, within IIT, luckily one of my students agreed to do this project. Manoj Dubey, he was my student at that time in IIT Delhi. He was the third or the fourth batch of design program over there. So Manoj took up this case. We used the same formula of ideation, how we took inspiration, how we made multiple small models, how we did CAD modeling. Today I'm going to discuss the management and the collaboration issue more in this, because all others are constant, whereas in the Z-Line I didn't talk about that much because the L&T had all the structures inside very well. What happens when the designer joins the company? You get tremendous amount of synergy to take the project forward. So Manoj Dubey had joined the company with Midco. Then Midco started a new department in design. So when you're doing innovation, sometimes your old human resource is not good enough for you. You have to bring completely new people. So Midco completely hired new sort of staff for doing design, CAD modeling, because all they didn't know how to use CAD to take products forward. So this was completely a new setup outside where the design was supposed to be taken care of. So now look at the interesting situation. You have the display, which is large. You have the hose coming from the top. You have a vertical organization. Earlier there were boxes, right? Now you got a vertical sleek look. So the organization and form is very, very critical. And you had to come up with a new design. Why do you think there's, you're able to dispense faster fuel from this?
More pressure with the hose from the up.
More pressure from the up. That's a good point. What else? But I have more head, no? If I have more head, will I get more pressure?
But there's a motor pumping it all the way to the top.
Anyway, the motor is pumping. Very good. The motor is anyway pumping, so I took it up. But then why should the delivery rate increase? For example, the Z-Line was giving us 45 liters a minute. So you can service 500 cars a day. Whereas this pump was giving us 55 liters per minute, nearly 20% more. You could service 600 cars a day. So 100 cars more is huge business. And what are the other advantages having the hose from the top? Tell me.
More range.
Excellent again. You get more range. That is, you can go much farther and fill petrol in the trucks and cars. What else? What else is the advantages of having a hose from the top?
You don't have to lift the pipe.
Damn good. The pipe is so heavy. There's 2 liters of petrol in that pipe. So 2 to 3 kilos is the petrol inside, and the hose is made out of rubber. And hoses are very heavy. Like if you carry them, they'll be some 8-9 kilos. So just imagine the whole day that guy is lifting this hose 500 times to fill petrol in cars and dragging it along is quite a job. So now what you have? You have a hose which is hanging from the top. So the load is not coming onto the person's hand. The fellow at the top is taking all the load. So range is high. Excellent lightweight. The operator, who's my secondary user, is very, very happy. He's not tired at the end of the day. What else?
Doesn't get tangled.
Doesn't get tangled under the tire. So generally hoses, cars go on top of the hoses and the hoses get damaged and you need to replace the hose every year. Here, there's no chance of any damage. You all understand what is a chassis, right? Frame. So this whole pump was built on a chassis. Then it had this, convenience for mass production. I'll come down to that a little later again. It had a large display fascia. You saw that large glass and large fascia was very critical because at that time we had this large TVs coming into the market. So people were very tuned to seeing large displays, and it satisfies the international norms for safety. Midco very early told me that we want to export this pump all over the world. So the standards have to be met. And when standards have to be met, explosive standards are very stringent. You need to have something called an air gap between the electronics and the hydraulics. So can you see that air gap in the middle? Why do you need an air gap between hydraulics and electronics? Any guess?
Sparking can produce.
Any sparking in the electronics can, produce fire and explosion, because that environment in the bottom is rich with hydrocarbon, rich with evaporated petrol or whatever. So you need to have a barrier between the two, and that was an important norm. We used computer-aided design a lot, and we had very high accuracies and very high modular design. So how computers helped us was, once you make this structure we could fit a single pump and double pump also. What's the advantage of this? Again, less number of parts. And Midco is not a company like L&T which had all its manufacturing in-house. So what they were doing, they were getting components from the vendors. So when you were getting components from vendors, it makes sense to have modular construction where you can have the same components again and again. Look at this whole array of first prototypes. In fact, as soon as Manoj joined the company, while he was in IIT, he produced this one first pump. After coming into Midco, he produced all these pumps which are all different. It's a mechanical pump. So can you imagine the advantage we have of putting a mechanical register into the same body? Why do people use mechanical pumps in rural areas, tell me?
Electricity.
Severe problem of electricity, and they crank, you know this? Yeah. They crank and they dispense. At that time, power was a serious problem. So just look at the beauty of this design. Manoj could actually fit a mechanical register in this, and and have this all the advantages of the new design and the advantages of modular construction. Very cost effective. And then you had the dual pump, both sides pump, and the single side pump. So we had all the options over here. So let me quickly show you now the results of the research. So this was research, right? So while Manoj was in the company, I was finishing my research, and I think, how does this success happen? So this is the model we developed, which I showed you earlier also. The core team, the enterprise-wide team, and the network team. Very important. Any project you do, even if you're doing a BTP for your project, if you follow the teaming, you'll get phenomenal success, and this happened regularly every time. And then what happened with this success, you need to also divide your stages into multiple stages. First you have ideation, multiple concept generation, prototyping, mock-ups. So all those stages are also important. So while you have this collaboration across teams, you also have steps in going through. And now look at these team members. The core team is made up of Manoj Dubey and 4 other engineers, CAD engineers, prototype engineers in the company. A very small team. But what was the bigger team was the enterprise-wide type cross-functional team. This was very big. Look at the beauty of product planning in Midco pumps. What was there? From mechanical pump to single pump to double pump, and I'll show you one more, to premix pump. I'll tell you what premix is a little later. So we had excellent product planning. The companies survive on investment, right? How much investment you do on your prototyping and on your different components on your manufacturing. So investments are low and you have large range of products. That is very critical. Now there's a chassis, right? So use less sheet metal, and the chassis was cheaper than using sheet metal to mount, because chassis is very strong. And look at these pipelines. The same pipe I'm using 2 times. And this pipe is done using special aluminum alloys in special CNC machines. And now coming to my hose on the top, L&T was using cast iron conduits. What happens inside cast iron? The inside surface is rough. Aluminum pipe, inside is smooth. When the surfaces are smooth, you have much better flow. So our hose, which is giving 55 liters per minute from the top, actually is being aided by the smooth aluminium pipes inside also. Look at the air separator. This is the air separator. This is the meter. And these are the copper pipes for the air separator. And this is the motor. And how all this is possible? Because of CAD. We could develop the modular system so well, and CAD was used extensively. Today, innovation teams are kept separate from the teams which are within the company, which are doing regular production activity. So that's a very critical thing which happened over here. And these are the first prototypes which came up of both the pumps, the mono pump and the dual pump. Will it be easy to change the cards here? Of course. Will it be a bonnet type of design? Yes. This whole panel drops down like this. There the petrol pump lifted like this, here we are dropping down like this. So you need to have all the features inside the pump. Without that, maintenance features doesn't work. So maintenance is very easy. Look at this whole panel comes off. So you're going to have very good access to all the hydraulics inside. So assembly aspects taken care of. In 1998-2000, this was like, that people in motorcycles used to add oil separately. You are aware of that? It was such a pain, right? The whole area was mucky and people would slip and fall. So we created this inside the same pump where the oil premix happens automatically. I have a small, meter there which will register the oil, and for example, a motorcycle guy says, "Meko 5 ml chahiye." Whereas a scooter person will say, "I want 4 ml." So we would change the amount of oil mix and automatically mix the oil in the petrol inside the pump and dispense it. It was a big hit. So that was the beauty of this. And unfortunately, Z-Line could not do all these because Z-Line was a very compact design. It was great design, but it was compact to the point. So look at the differentiations of how this new product, because of new situations, developed. And then we got the first order for Bharat Petroleum, and the first order itself we installed in Sevri petrol pump over there. And by this time, the prototyping technologies were phenomenal. That is, they were so good that the prototype could be installed in the field. Whereas when I did Z-Line, I installed it inside my whole plant. I was not very confident that it can be in the field. But here, the prototype was installed directly in the field, and we got direct inputs of the product, and it performed phenomenally well. We had the mono and the dual pump installed in the station. And this was installed in a location which is Bharat Petroleum's officers' quarters, like all the DGMs and all would stay there. And every morning, these people will come and fill petrol here. The Bharat Petroleum officers. And instantly they gave a large order. The first order, pilot order itself was big, around 200 numbers. And then, this went into production. So we rolled the sheet and fabricated it such a way that we can mimic the shape of a Nokia phone. At the same time, the cost of production was extremely low. So that's the beauty of this, design. And we use special CNC fabrication. Look at all these points from where my hose came out. Here we have a keypad design. We have an automatic dispensing. You want 3 liters, you can punch 3 liters, you can get 3 liters petrol. So we had special solenoids. So all those features were added into this. And on this side, we had a printer. So everything would be integrated, and these dimensions were very accurate, and they were all designed using CAD. So you had very, very good system in place. This is one part of the assembly line, which is called the test rig. And this one in the bottom, we have a huge tank in the factory. And what are we doing? Remember endurance testing I told for Z-Line? We are taking the fuel from the bottom of the tank, putting it back in the tank continuously for at least a day before these pumps are dispatched to the market in the production line. Endurance is separate, but this is in the production line. You have a test rig where you sort of test. So now here we are. So we talked about how we built these teams, and the network external team was very critical, where all the vendors who supported us were phenomenal. Let it be the CNC aluminum pipe bending person, or the CNC fabrication person, or the person who gives all the components in the meters and the pumps. The pumps were manufactured in Coimbatore, which is the largest sector in pump manufacturing. So we got the best places from the best locations. So, though L&T was the largest company, each individual component of this product was much better than the Larsen & Toubro product. So the suppliers, the distributors, the technology providers, academic institutions, me. So we are the external team. We have the R&D institutions, which they were talking a lot about, with R&D institutions abroad to understand, the flow of petrol. We had other consultants coming in. We had a lot of interesting user groups, which we call psychologists and user groups. And we went to huge production. First order itself was big. Very nice to see those multiple products. Whenever it was like great pleasure to see, large production happening, because BIDCO never produced so many pumps. So by this time, it was already 1.5 years. Now the first order, 200 numbers, we already jumped. And then there was a huge market penetration. Any new company which comes in wants a new pump, right? They won't want the Z line. It's already old. So they, they took up these new pumps. So, we developed a lot of new pumps. So there was very, very tough competition to Larsen & Toubro because our costs were low. Lower cost, better product. And better longevity, more silent, easy to use. Remember, hose coming from the top. So at every level in the sunflower model of innovation, the new pump was better than the Z-line pump. So in the year 2007, where did they reach? They reached 200 crores. So, we went forward, and I think the company is still doing well after 10 years. Innovation happens when the product reaches the end user. Very clear. We just can't call it innovative if it has not reached the end user. And collaborative innovation, of course, was the key, where we looked at core teams who are like, do or die, they're fully on the job. We have the enterprise-wide teams which give you the creative and the critical check of where to go. And then we had the external team, which is also, we calling them teams with their support structures, which give you tremendous amount of inputs and understanding of the users, understanding of the materials and manufacturing, understanding of the processes, research domain, sociology domain, multiple things which come from the external team. So these things happened constantly in all the things. And this was the outcome of the, PhD research I did at IIT Delhi. And now we have a project in hand. How do we handle the project which has come to us from NID? So NID, is well-known design school in the country, and ONGC approached National Institute of Design, and Pradyumna Vyas, who is the director of NID, also an alumnus from IIT Bombay, approached me because I was working in petrol pumps for last 2 decades, and we built a wonderful team. And then we collaborated with MIDCO again, which is a manufacturing company, day one in the project, which is unheard of. So these are the images which are like computer renderings, which are not very detailed. They're like mock renderings from the computer where the student quickly picks up, or some designers quickly did some sketches. And they said, these are the possible options, because ONGC had a large branding exercise. They went to brand managers across the country, got to the best brand company, and they decided they'll call their brand the Oval Dispenser, or the Oval will be their brand. So then, we had Manoj Dubey, who was the Master of Design from IIT Delhi, who joined MIDCO at that time when we came up with the Bullet Dispenser, which was the earlier success story. So he immediately conceived the total product with all the parts and organization of the projects. So I was the consultant for MIDCO as well as working with NID. So we had this, collaborative team. So we quickly worked out what type of product organization which will happen. Product organization is very important. Where will each part go in the product? How will the parts be organized? So where will the electronics be? How will the hydraulics work? You see that large scale drawing where we talked about every part of the product. Now we are making foam 3D mock-ups using digital printing, and the product looks like real. What is this? This is a working rig of the mock-up. Does it look anything? It has a little bit similarities to the mock-up, but all the parts are just put together. This is a very, very important component in innovation and creativity, where you just make the product work. You in electronics, you put a breadboard and get your circuit running. It's like that. It's a rig. You put things together in whichever fashion and you make the pump run. Look at that guy. He's actually filling petrol. He's checking up accuracies. Look at that panel. We just picked up the MIDCO panel, the old one, just to put the panel over there. It doesn't use all the right components. So you just rig things together and make a working rig very quickly. So we're still not crossed the prototyping stage. We're still half in the prototyping stage by making the working rig. So even prototyping became very, very high tech. Earlier, remember in the Z line, I prototype using hand tools. Now we are prototyping using CNC tools, and this can be done, very effectively. Then we built all the structures inside with very, very high accuracy to fit the pumps and the motors. So it's like a monocoque. See, within those 15 years from Z line to the Bullet to the, Oval, the technology had gone leaps and bounds. Electronics technology and microchip technology. So this particular LCD panels, what you see, were very, very high end when compared to the Z line or the Bullet. Remember, our formula was very clear. Use creative ideation, use contemporary technology and materials, and then you will be having innovative product in your hand. So all that was, the formula was same what we did for all the projects. And then, we came up with a very good organization, improved the pumps and the meters, and then took it forward. And then we reached the final prototype. Look at that painted model. I was showing you the unpainted model. So here we are created a pump which is tremendous user convenience. Now tell me, why is the hose again come down? In the Bullet, we had the hose from the top. Because there's a lot of innovation in the hose technology by then. The hoses became lightweight, they were easy to take around, and the Oval dispenser said that we don't want hoses to come from the top because of a branding issue. So we had to, innovate on the hose material itself, and the hose material is made out of PU, and that's very, very light. So the convenience to the user is not lost. Then we have this, the display reaches the person in front of the car. The display comes in front. The use of contemporary technology for user delight. We use the best displays, light signages, modular assembly. A lot of components inside are modular in nature. We had the oval shape coming up very well, which was very well appreciated. And the fuel dispensing was visible from those flow ports, which again was a very novel feature in the pump. So, this also makes the pump look very inviting and new. So because of the light on the side. And then we reached very quickly the pilot production stage. So we had a large collaborative team to work in. A lot of people put their hands together to come to, this particular very, very different, pump. And the whole world stood up to see the pump, from, Europe to US. They were pretty shocked that, we could come up with a pump which is like so different, at the same time using all the new technologies in the petrol pump business. And you can now see the range, the mock-up, the rig, and the final product. You can imagine that it's pretty close. We had to create 7 pumps and put them up at Mangalore. They have a large refinery in Mangalore, and they said we'll first put our first petrol station in Mangalore. The decision was taken very quickly, and we were both at IIT Bombay, Midco, and NID. We worked relentlessly for a year to make these products come to the market, and then these were launched in Mangalore. So these are all the 7 pilot production pumps on the display in the station. And then all the other paraphernalia around, the air, the the printers and the oil dispensers, they all did a little bit of similar branding and product organization for that. And look at this display being stuck to the windscreen of cars, and people are extremely thrilled on its working. We know now it's very easy to put a display, because we have, today you will have an app, and I can see what's happening on my pump in my mobile. If I can, get an app, Indian Oil can start an app, and I can actually see my dispensing happening on my mobile tomorrow. It's that cool today. But this was in 2004, and we did this work. And then, this is our first day's business. A lot of people poured in because the petrol was cheaper than the Indian Oil station next door. So that was one of the serious problems. So a lot of people came in to fill petrol. These are the signages outside. We call it the totem pole. The symbol outside, as well as the display to say that this is where the petrol pump is. So you can see how we, over a decade till 2005. So from 1999 to 2005, we have, these products which are all the same segment, same product. Technology changed, materials changed, features changed because of the way the users changed, right? So that's the whole journey I want to share with you of how we did seeded innovation, because this didn't reach the innovation because this goes a mass, but still it had all the components, and because of political reasons this didn't go to the market. So it's very interesting. Innovation can be stifled because of various reasons. It could be political, it could be, lack of funds, it could be, lack of will of the management. There could be so many things coming. So what is challenging is all innovation journeys are very, very complex, and you need to understand all the parts very carefully, and then be very attentive from the beginning to take these, things forward. And after this, the company started producing the multi-hose dispensers also, because by the time things changed, so we had multiple designs happening, and company did furthermore, and things went forward. So what is interesting is we did these multi-hose dispensers. Again, the same formula we used. I don't want to tell you again, the formula was very straightforward. Component assemblies, quick layout, take it to CAD assembly, come down to electronics for the MPDs, modular design, development, CAD model, prototyping, develop the first prototypes, develop the easy maintainability features. So see, now it's look like, cakewalk. Get all the operations done, and finally Midco had a multi-hose dispenser for the export market and the bullet dispenser for the local market. So 2 products in the market line, and company is still galloping forward, and I think the company is still doing well after 10 years. So I thought I'll just show you this story, and this time we specifically talked about how same domain, same product, we could innovate to the next level.